This next segment is going to be called The Angels in the Outfield. Because I know Dave Dombrowski has a working relationship with the LA Angels in making moves before. The Phillies have acquired Brandon Marsh, of course, in the trade that they sent Logan O'Hoppe to. They have acquired Carlos Estevez last year in a trade that sent both Sam Aldegheri and George Clausen to the Los Angeles Angels. And I wonder if the Angels would be willing to be trade partners with the Philadelphia Phillies once again and with Dave Dombrowski once again in the acquisition of one of two outfielders that I think the Angels could be willing to shop. So I've pinpointed two players on the Angels that I think the Phillies would be interested in because they fit a mold that is what the Phillies are looking for. What the Phillies are looking for is an outfield power bat, especially a right-handed hitting outfield power bat. It just so happens that the Angels have two of them. Let's start with a guy that the Phillies have thought about and have been connected to in recent trade deadlines, especially in last year's trade deadline. And the name once again comes up because the Angels are starting to falter just a little bit. They're hanging around 500, but they're exactly 500 at 40-40. But a name that has come up a lot for the Phillies over the last couple of, over the last offseason and last trade deadline, and is now back at it once again, is Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward in 78 games so far this year has just shy of 300 at-bats. You see his split, his slash lines, 208, 278, and 460. But the selling point for Taylor Ward, and the reason that Phillies fans have called for Taylor Ward for each of the last two seasons, are the 19 home runs and the 53 RBI. 36 extra base hits, gap-to-gap power, home run power is there. Is team-controlled or team arbitration eligible for one more season before becoming a unrestricted free agent after the 2026 season into the 2027 season. On the right there, you see his baseball savant numbers. There's a lot of blue there. But the thing that stands out for Taylor Ward, of course, is the pop. Average exit velocity is good. Average expected slugging is good. And he doesn't chase a lot. But my worry with Taylor Ward, and the reason as to why I think the Phillies have been in consideration for Taylor Ward, is the home runs. But my worry about Taylor Ward are the high strikeout rates. There are a lot to look at that stat line there, and you go, it's only hitting 208. Is a sub 300 on base percentage. Slugging is excellent because of the 36 extra base hits and the 19 home runs. But my concern with Taylor Ward is the fact that he is going to drive Phillies fans nuts with the amount of strikeouts and the amount of at-bats that end in strikeouts for him specifically. He's in the 15th percentile of K rate this year. He's striking out about 27% of the time. His whiff rates are okay. They're at about the 61st percentile, and he doesn't chase a lot, so he knows the zone well. But it's a guy who strikes out, to me, way too much to trade significant assets for. And you're going to look at it and go, Tyler, nobody on the Phillies, and thank you, Andrew, we can drop the graphic. I appreciate it. Nobody on the Phillies is on pace for 20 home runs with the exception of Kyle Schwarber. Taylor Ward's next home run will be his 20th. Definitely fair. Gaps power is there. You see his spray chart, hitting to all fields. 5 home runs to the opposite field this year. 6 home runs to dead center field, and 8 home runs to left field. Spray chart is significant in terms of the fact that the power is there to all fields. But it's a guy who already has 90 strikeouts this year. It's a guy who is on pace to strike out almost 180 times this season so far and only walk 60 times. And I understand people are going to be enamored with Taylor Ward because he provides pop that the Phillies don't have. They don't have it in left field. We talked about Max Kepler. Brandon Marsh has hit better as of late. Not a lot of pop out of his bat. They don't have it in center field, whether it be Brandon Marsh again or Johan Rojas. And in fact, they really don't have pop anywhere in the lineup with the exception of Kyle Schwarber, because Bryce Harper even is not on pace for 20 home runs because of the injuries that he's sustained and the time that he has missed. But even with Bryce Harper back in the lineup, Nick Castellanos is not hitting home runs the way that he did when he first joined the team he's become more of a doubles hitter. JT Realmuto's power has been sapped. My thought with him has always been, I want him to be a gaps hitter. I want him to be a doubles hitter. Same thing with Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm, I found myself in the Alec Bohm defense portion of the fan base now because his bat-to-ball numbers have been good. He's not whiffing a lot. He's not chasing nearly as much. And his average is up, off the top of my head, I would say he's about 280 right now. But he's been much better in May and June than he was over the month of April. But this team does not have a power profile bat in its lineup. And I understand with power profiles comes swing and miss. I understand that the Phillies are devoid of power. And no, Ray, I did not mean 20 home runs by the break. I meant the fact that no Philly is on pace for 20 home runs in the season, with the exception of Kyle Schwarber. They may have a player, they may only have one player who hits 20 home runs this year. Now, Harper could come back and hit you 12 in the second half and get to 20. Certainly possible. But right now, they do not have a single player who is on pace for 20 home runs other than Kyle Schwarber. I get that the value is there for a power bat. I also understand that Taylor Ward is an average defender. He's in the 63rd percentile of outs above average, and he's at an arm value that's not particularly strong. Not a great arm, fine defender. He's hitting 208. His on-base percentage is 278, and his strikeout rates are really, really bad. Taylor Ward has been connected to the Phillies for 2 years now, and I really would not be willing to move significant prospects for this player. I understand that for a lot of people, they are going to hold Dave Dombrowski's feet to the fire. They are going to say, do not pro clutch. You need a power bat. Go find a power bat. I don't think this guy's it. And I know a lot of people would disagree. Taylor Ward's name comes up. I've seen a lot of Brent Rooker recently, which doesn't make any sense considering the A's just signed him to a 5-year deal. Dude, would I love Brent Rooker's bat in this lineup? Without a second's hesitation, he would probably be the best power hitter in this lineup, not named Kyle Schwarber. He might be one of the top 2 hitters in this lineup, including Kyle Schwarber, immediately if he stepped onto this team. The A's aren't moving him. They just signed him to a 5-year extension. And I know the A's are playing some really bad baseball right now, but they're starting to develop a core that they're not gonna move. They're not moving him. They're not moving Butler. There's a couple of guys on that team that they're not gonna move. But just another, that's the name you would move prospects for, is Brent Rooker, right? It's not gonna happen. The A's aren't moving him. Taylor Ward, I just don't think I'm moving significant prospects for. And then the second angel in the outfield is a guy that I have been it's the fantasy football player that you wait to break out, that you wait to break out, that you wait to break out. And I have been waiting on this guy forever. And I guess this is his breakout, is Joe Adell. Joe Adell, 17 home runs this season, 41 RBI, 25 extra base hits. He's hitting a little bit better average-wise, 230. His OBP is a little bit higher at 306. Slugging about the same. OPS is about the same. He's played in 73 games, has 230 at-bats. He has 2 years of arbitration left before becoming a free agent in 2020. Joe Adell has been a highly coveted prospect for 5 years now. And last year, he hit 20 home runs in 400 at-bats, but only hit 207 with a 280 on-base percentage. His slug was 402 and an OPS below 700. This year, Joe Adell's OPS is much closer to 800. The doubles have improved a little bit. The home run, the pop is undeniable. But the conversation about Joe Adell is the exact same conversation that we have been having for years about Joe Adell, and it's the same one that we just had with Taylor Ward. This guy strikes out a lot. 29.7% of his at-bats, 25% of his at-bats he struck out in, and his whiff rate is 29.7%. He's in the 17th percentile. He is chasing a lot. He's not squaring the ball up. Now, unlike Taylor Ward, who has a below-average bat speed, Joe Adell has some of the fastest hands in baseball. He's in the 99th percentile with a 77.4% average miles per hour bat speed. He barrels a lot of baseballs. When he hits the ball hard. His expected slugging is in the 96th percentile, and his expected on-base percentage or weighted on-base percentage is in the 89th percentile. This is a guy that I have waited to mature and waited to kind of come into his own as a hitter because the power is undeniable. He really struggled in years past with consistency, with batting average, with the fact that he was not putting enough balls in play. If you go back to last year, his strikeout rate was even worse. It was in the 15th percentile. Go back to 2 years ago. It was even worse. He struck out 40% of his at-bats over a small sample size in 2023. There's a reason he continually gets sent down to Salt Lake and called back up and sent down to Salt Lake and called back up because Joe Adell has struggled with consistency over the years. Is he starting to turn the corner? This is the guy that if the Angels are parting with an outfielder, this is the guy I would consider. I'm not moving crazy prospects for him, right? Like this isn't Justin Crawford for Joe Adell. But if the right return on investment is there, this is the player that I would consider. Now, Joe Adell is not a good defender. He makes highlight reel play. Let me rephrase that. Joe Adell makes highlight reel plays, but on the routine, his range is below average. He's a -3 on range. He's a -1 on arm value. His arm strength is right at about league average. He makes some crazy plays. He also doesn't make routine plays at times. Big body bat, could profile as a play some center field, play some left field, depending on where you want to situate him. His strikeout rates are still there. Don't get me wrong. He is currently on pace for about 125 strikeouts, which is right along cue where he was last year. But if I'm picking one of these two guys, it is unquestionably Joe Adell.